Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 636. Today we're going to take a look at Just One. Now this is coming out from Repros Productions. Actually, I think it's coming out now or a little bit after this, you see this video if you're watching it in real time. Now this is a party game. It's a word game. It's super fun. So let me just show you how it works. It's super simple. It's dead simple. Show you how it works. Come back, tell you what I think. Okay, so here's everything you get in the game. Now it plays 3 to 7 players, although I have played it with up to 9 with a slight variant. But let's just talk about the exact rules. They're in the game. So let's say you have 7 players. Everybody's going to get one of these little stands. They're also going to get one of these dry erase markers in a different color. And then one player at random is going to be chosen to draw a card. Now, before you start the game up, you're going to deal out 13 of these cards. I just grabbed some cards. But you deal out 13 of them. And then let's say I'm sitting over there. I'm going to face my stand like this. I'm going to draw this card without looking at it and set it on my stand. Now I'm going to say a number between 1 and 5 every time. Pick a number 1 and 5. So maybe I say 1. So everybody else can see, except for me, that the word for number 1 is music. Now everybody else is going to take these little stands and write just one word on there to give me a clue that the word that I am trying to guess is music. So maybe I will write, my penmanship is terrible. I'm going to write guitar, right? So I write guitar, and I keep that hidden. And then Frankie here in a different colored pen is going to write, maybe he writes piano. Okay, so he's going to write piano, piano. And then let's say Francesca, she also writes piano. That's bad. So everybody's going to write one word, and then this person who has the card is going to close their eyes. Everybody else is going to show their word. Now, anybody that has duplicated another word, let's say these 2 players wrote piano, we're going to put those face down. You can't see them. Then you're going to see the rest of the words, and we say, Billy, go ahead and look. And then everybody's going to show Billy the words, and he's going to then hopefully guess music. And then if he guesses music, then we're going to put this in a scoring pile. If he chooses to pass, we're going to put this in a not scoring pile. If he guesses and he's wrong, we're going to put this in the not scoring pile and then take another card and put it in the not scoring pile. What you're trying to do is get all 13 correct, but if you don't, it gives you kind of a success rate. So if you get 9 to 10, you get, wow, not bad. 7 to 8, that's average. Our high was, it was either 8 or 9. I can't remember. I think it was 8. I think we almost had 9. So we got 8. But there's been a few times I played it where we got like 5 and it was terrible. Because some of the words, they're a little bit more abstract and they're harder to guess. So like Canada, zoo, pipe, book. So they might seem easy, but once people start writing down the same word and then canceling each other out, and then they're left with very few words out here to guess, then it gets a little bit more difficult. So in the process of that, you're trying to write something that's sort of obtuse, but not too obtuse that it totally throws them off, but you don't want to write something so common that other people are going to write it. It's kind of a little mind game. So that's it. That's very simple. The couple of rules, you can't use like double words. Like if I were to write, Bob Dylan for music, that's 2 words. I could write Dylan, that'd be fine. I couldn't write like, if the word was like say bookcase, I couldn't write book because that's part of the word bookcase. And there's a couple other little rules like that. Like you can't do it phonetically. Like if the word is shirt, S-H-I-R-T, you can't do part of that word, maybe that's a naughty word, or you couldn't write S-H-U-R-T, like shirt. You can't phonetically do it. So there's a couple of minor rules like that, but that's pretty much the whole game. Okay, so that is just one. So we'll go through my 3 pillars of reviews. First thing is player count. The box says 3 to 7. There is a variant for when you play with 3 players. Each player will give 2 clues or 2 words. So I think that makes sense. Without that variant, I wouldn't want to play it with less than 5. Probably. So up to 7, because it's only got 7 of these things. But what we did, we actually played it with 9, is we just kind of rotated. So you only ever had 7 words, that were given as clues, but you had kind of one person sitting out, and then the other person would just hold the card if they were the one giving the clue. So with 9, that 9th player is a little bit bored because they're not doing anything. But they can kind of follow along. It's fun to watch the game, honestly. I wouldn't go much above 9, and then 8's probably the most because the person that has the card doesn't need this. It's just a kind of a cool stand. So you could play with 8 for sure, and everybody's involved. But, one person watching, and then people are going to get bored probably if they're watching. So, like I said, player count, probably that, I'd say 5 and up is probably the sweet spot, but with that variant, 3 players could be fun. But it elicits a kind of a party atmosphere or social atmosphere because you're always discussing, oh, you put that word, so did I, haha. And then it kind of says you're not really supposed to talk about what you're writing down, but I mean, like I've played it and we get the word, and I'm thinking of my friend Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, the podcast. And we have some things in common. There's some sports things we talk about, and there's some certain pop culture things, right, that we have in common. So one time I said, don't you do it, and he had no idea what I was talking about, but I was making like a reference to something that I was like, of course you would have that. And he was completely on a different page. So it tells you not to kind of do that stuff, but I can't help myself. So, and obviously if I do that, I'm not really saying what I'm doing. I'm just kind of suggesting like an inside joke kind of thing. Yeah, so whatever, just kind of play it as you go there, because you could just be an idiot like me and be like, oh, I know what you're going to write. I have no idea what you're writing. So yeah, so that's kind of the player count idea. As far as playtime, it doesn't take, what's the box say? I don't even know what the box says. What does the box say? What does the fox say? 20 minutes? Yep, that seems right. I wouldn't say more than a half hour. And then every time I played it, it's been back to back to back. It's a great party game kind of thing. What could I compare it to? I don't know, code names? Not really, but it's in that same sort of family social game type of thing. It's just a party game of Time's Up, something like that maybe. It's kind of like Time's Up because it's sort of like you're going through a deck of cards and guessing, but whatever. It's really fun. It just is a super fun thing, and it has just from a party atmosphere, it's fine. It's like an old game we used to come out. I think it's still out. It's called Scattergories. You could probably find it like Target or Walmart or some kind of store like that. I don't know if it's still for sale. It was just like this, where everybody got a category and then a letter, and you had to write anything to do with that category that had that letter, something like that. It's been years. But if you matched anybody else, then neither of you scored the point for that word. So it's kind of like that, but more of the group co-op thing. So the whole party dynamic is just super fun. When you get the same word as somebody, you laugh and you say, oh, I knew somebody was going to write that. Or you try to be clever and you're both trying to be too clever and you write the same word. And then the other thing is the pressure on the person that's trying to guess. And everybody that has written the words, there's this instinctual thing of oh, they're totally going to get this. Of course they're going to get this. And you look at the words and you're like, what the heck are they talking about? And then when you do get it right, it feels definitely collectively like we did it. And that's why I really like it, I think, is it's oh, you got it because you wrote that super clever thing. So one thing, I talked about this on my last podcast. It was really cool. So the word was octopus. And, I think I wrote squid, and somebody wrote ink, another person wrote tentacle, and so on. And you might think, because I told you just now that it was octopus, but when you're just looking at the words, sometimes it's hard to draw the line. And you might think, the word I had an example was music. So you might think rock band or something. Well, it's never 2 words, but it might be, rock and roll or band or something. So you might be close, but you'd be wrong, and then you're going to get the 2 points negative. But in the case of octopus, what happened was somebody wrote doctor. So you had ink, squid, tentacle, doctor, and they're like, oh, Dr. Octopus, like in Spider-Man. And so you get those kind of outside the box thinking that's going to happen. And it's cool because it's that one person kind of takes on that role, goes off into their own kind of personal sort of mental space and writes it down. And then it's funny if they match somebody because you're both in that same mental space. So that's cool. That's fun. But then it's oh, we all kind of did kind of the expected thing. And then Francesca over here, she wrote kind of the left field thing, which just sunk it all together. So it's we kind of provided sort of the boundaries of it, and then she kind of went fishing, right, and then caught the fish and brought it in, and then that whole thing kind of worked really well together. So this is why I really, really do enjoy this game, because of that mental dynamic, and all that's just kind of taken place through this really simple thing. So that's really neat. I think that's an interesting thing to have happened. And the designers, they designed Seventh Continent. So it's like, oh, okay. That doesn't make sense. All right. So this is just one 100% recommendation across the board. I played this at BGG-Con with, I don't know, a couple of dozen different, no, well, that's an exaggeration. Probably 20 different people. So close to 2 dozen, right? And then everybody liked it, and everybody I ran into liked it. And yeah, so I don't know why you wouldn't like this game. It's great. Okay, that's it. Thanks.